some medulla. I maneuver, leave you headless. And I be laying hexes.
Cooking up tortillas.
Slipping through your thoughts.
Tortillas today.
A nigga mind done lie. Time top, ticket tripping. What's the time zone? System go. Ship ascending. We just mobbing metal foes.
Blessings, blessings. I wonder who we're gonna get as a taste tester today. Blessings, Tim. Thank you for joining. We're making tortillas today. Some herb-infused tortillas. We like to eat our medicine. We can cook it up in the Rasta kitchen. Homemade tortillas. We're going to talk about why it's important to make your own tortillas. And we're going to talk about how you can get your own tortillas too. The tortilla dough. Alright? Let's see, we got 2 people in the house. Thank you. Whew, glad that's over. Let's see. Oh, I like this song. Turn this down a little bit. So I listed in my previous post, hey Anthony, and Memphis. Okay, all right. Oh, by the way, can you guys please drop where you're watching from? I just like to see, some people are in different places traveling. This is why the lives are so great. So if you can just say where you're watching from, if you don't want to say your city, just put California or wherever. Maybe I have some Belize people coming in today. I don't know. We'll see. All right. I listed the ingredients, but I'm just going to go over them really quick again. We're going to be working with flour, but we're working with unbleached organic flour. Unbleached organic flour. Okay, so I don't know about you, but I was like, well, what's the difference? Why can't I just, grab the regular flour? Well, there's quite a bit of reasons. Because it's organic, they can't put additives or GMO or chemicals, okay? So it's grown without synthetic pesticides. So a little bit about our tap water. Our tap water comes from, the wells around, and so when the rain falls and there's pesticides on the food, that gets into the water, and then they've got to add chemicals to the water to get it out, okay? So when people are cooking with bleached flour, they are actually cooking with more chemicals. And it was pretty interesting what I found. So, let's see. There will be probably organic, no genetic modified ingredients. So that's important too, okay? Remember, I tell you, things are happening. A lot of people are getting asthma, younger age, having a hard time controlling it, and has a lot to do if you're eating breads. And we're going to talk about what are some of the things that are in the other flour. All right, some people say that it tastes better, and it's also a way, again, to care for our earths. So when you're buying organic, you're saying no to the pesticides, to them spraying the food. We can complain all day long about it, but it's our life. It's the way we change what we use in our cooking in order to say we don't want that and let that shit rot on the shelves, period. Because we don't want poison in our bodies, or more than that, our children's body, or a mother who is creating a human. We don't want chemicals. So when you can, or absolutely, because as it is, flour is not really good to eat all the time, but if you like it, like I like it every now and then you want to get you some unbleached organic flour. And shout out to Titus Unlimited. In one of his lives, he was talking about the benefit. He mentioned organic flour. So I went looking for it, and I found it. So all of my products will be made with organic flour. Okay, let's see. Oh, here's the thing. So the bleached one has chemicals, including chlorine. Okay, it actually has bleach in it. And people say, well, it's just a little bit. But if you're eating bread or you're eating dough-type products all day long, every single day, then you're putting a lot of bleach in your system, in addition to the bleach that comes on our skin when we're taking a shower, right? So just, if you can avoid it and you can make the choice, think about making the choice. All right, so with the unbleached, unenriched organic one, with this one, This one has, again, the no chemical bleaching, no pesticides, no toxic additives, no chemical additives or preservatives, and no enriching. What enriching is when they bleach the flour, then they try to put back the minerals, and it doesn't work. I mean, it's some guy made it up, and yeah, it's all about trying to make the most, give a product that it's whitest. Okay, so that's enough about that. So let me go ahead and pour in. The recipe calls for 1 1/2 of flour. I'm getting better at this, guys. I'm doing my prepping. All right, 1 1/2 cup of flour. All right, so the next thing we're gonna talk about, when I was getting ready for today's live, it said aluminum-free baking powders. I said aluminum-free. So whenever they're stating something's free or they say GMO-free, you know, that's when you know you're actually getting a quality product. So for this, do a 1/2 teaspoon and then a 1/2 teaspoon of pink Himalayan salt. And let me see what we can talk about that. Anybody know the benefits of the pink salt? I don't know if anyone knows. Oh, by the way, all these, I don't know if you can, nope, yep, you can see it. All these ingredients, all these chemical compounds right here, that's all in the bleached flour. The one that really stood out to me is because I'll see people talking about asthma on their posting, how their asthma is getting to them. Well, this one, forgive me everybody, azoto di carbonamide. I don't know how to say that word. But anyway, let me see if I can find it. I said it earlier and I messed up. Couldn't say it now. I'm not perfect. That ingredient right there actually flares up asthma. So if you're cooking for your family, you're baking goods, and you're using the cheap bleached flour, you're actually can flare up somebody's asthma. So when they eat the food, they can actually have an allergic reaction because of that ingredient in there, especially if you don't know that they've been eating flour all day long, right? They had a sandwich in the morning, they had a sandwich for lunch, and maybe they're gonna come and get some tortillas or something you're making for them, and you may have used the other flour. Well, that can cause the asthma to flare. So if you do have asthma, I encourage you to get a journal and start paying attention to what you're eating. It's like a food journal, and note how you feel after you eat. Okay, so if you're feeling kind of bad, then you might have to start paying attention to cooking your own bread, making your own bread, or tortillas, or Johnny cakes, or find some other way. Okay, so aluminum-free baking powder. What's good about this? Let's see what it said. Baking powder can, that's what it. Whenever you're going to buy this product, baking powder, you don't want to buy a big old bag of it. Keep it in small, because if you buy a big, it'll actually start to wear down. So they did say that. The aluminum-free kind of takes that aluminum taste out. So using this one will actually be better when it comes to taste. That's all that I really saw. All right, so let's see. Hi, Mommy. Gigi's live, but you could come in. Okay, Himalayan salt, pink Himalayan salt. The benefits of that, it actually helps with your electrolyte balance. So if you're an athlete and you're, making yourself something to eat, you might want to switch over to the pink salt, because it's going to help with that. Regulates water content both inside and outside of the cells. It prevents muscle cramping. Yes, right? Strengthens the bones, lowers blood pressure, helps the intestines, absorbs nutrients, prevents goiters, improves circulation, and it dissolves and eliminates sediment to remove toxins. So this is an excellent addition. Replace that white salt and get this pink salt if you're wanting to become more health conscious with your food. All right, so I already measured those out, and I'm gonna go ahead and put them in our tortilla flour mix. We're gonna mix this up. How are you, Mara? Good. What are you guys doing today? Almost done. They got tomorrow, but Chief can stay. He doesn't have to go. We have a surprise visitor. She usually helps me out in the kitchen with the... And there she is. I'll see you guys later. I love you. Okay, so you just kind of mix it up. They didn't know I was going live. I didn't know they were coming over, so. You mix it up really good. I've shown this before, but you know, it never hurts to show again. All right, so now that we've got our flour, our baking powder, and our salt, we're now gonna add herb-infused coconut oil. All right, so coconut oil, tons of benefits. We'll talk about that a little later, but tons of benefits to coconut oil. And then when you add the herb, now you're adding medicinal benefits, okay? And there's a couple of types of herbs. My favorite is sativa, because sativa will allow you to keep going. It actually helps with the creative process, increases your metabolism. There's a lot of great things to sativa type herb. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and just pour that in there, 1/4 cup. So we did 1 1/2 cup of flour, and now we're doing a 1/4 cup of the herb oil. We're just gonna mix it in there really good. Hey, our new watchers, thank you. Please share the video if you think someone would enjoy the information. All right, so you're just gonna mix it in there real good. It's always better to use your hands with this one. I know you could probably get a whiff if you didn't want to touch it, but definitely, you know, get your hands in there. I put gloves on when I'm working with food that people might possibly want to come and share blessings with, so. All right. There is a different texture with the organic flour than the unbleached flour. And so far I really love the taste. Hi, Brittany. Hello, Queen. Hey, Monisha. Let's see. Is that Jose? Okay. Jose Rodriguez, I think, yeah. Hello, hello. Thanks for watching, guys. All right, so you got that all mixed in there. When I was growing up, my parents would use lard, my mother would use shortening, and Crisco shortening, I remember. So that wasn't always good, and I had allergic reactions to the tortillas, really bad. So I used the coconut oil, and we're doing good with that. All right, so got this going. I'm gonna switch my page because I found something interesting. Let's see if I can get to it. All right, so now we're gonna add water. And how many of you guys see this, right? You see this everywhere. Do you know about this Alpine spring water? Crystal guys are like, when it started, like when they came about and what they do. Because you know, when we go and purchase products, for instance, people who are going through the drive-thru and they can't stand Trump, but they're at Chick-fil-A, or maybe they're at McDonald's, or Carl's Jr., those companies support his re-election. So if that's who you want to support, then by all means, keep eating there, that's okay, it's totally your choice. But in researching this company, and I didn't know this until today, this company actually supports the American forest. Oh, I can't see. Anybody wants this information, inbox me and I'll send it to you, okay? American Forest, the California Coastal Commission, the MS Society, and this one right here was really interesting that I found wonderful. The UCSF Benefic Children's Hospital in Oakland. So it actually helps, it donates to the Children's Hospital in Oakland. So that's pretty good. I think that's pretty interesting and wonderful. And they are in the Alpines. And something else I learned about this water that I never paid attention to, the label actually shows you right here. It actually shows you where they get the water from, right? Obviously the ones that are outside where you're refilling your bottle, that cannot be spring water. That's probably just, you know, them running the tap water through a filter. But if you're purchasing it like this, unopened, then you can know that you're getting the spring water, okay? Because sometimes I go to those things and fill up my water, and I'll water my plants with it. Okay, so now we're just gonna add water, and for this, I'm just adding water and just kind of looking. I've tried measuring and it doesn't work. So you just pour it in, and that's about good right there. So I wish I could tell you a measurement of that, but honestly I've tried and it just doesn't work. And then what I do is I just move my dough around in it. It's gonna be a little sticky, and if it gets too sticky, then we have flour set aside here to add to it. Okay, so now I'm just gonna work it. My favorite water, yes, it's my favorite water too. Yeah, I don't like you know, I've always known, when I was growing up, I'm just gonna keep it real, okay? When I was growing up, we didn't hear about cancer. We didn't hear about, and I'm a 1968 baby, okay? January, in a few more months, I'll be 52. Oh my goodness, 52. So I'm taking advantage of life as much as possible now. Doing what I want, just having a good time. But back to when I was young, growing up. We didn't see it. We didn't see cancer. And then all of a sudden, growing up in Madeira, all of a sudden, McDonald's popped up. And it was great, right? Wonderful. You can go and get a hamburger, and you know, and it actually was kind of pricey for us. So we didn't come from a lot of money. My mom was always cooking, and actually so was my stepdad. He did a lot of cooking too, and I learned a lot from him. But this one probably can, because it's a little hard, it's not really. One of these days I'm gonna have a cooking class, have somebody come up in here, and you guys can, you can do it with me, and I can see what's going on. But it is still a little hard to me, so I'm gonna add just a little bit more water to it. I kind of want it a little bit more stickier than this, if that makes sense. So we had one person in our family, and her and her family, they could go out and eat because she was blessed. You know, she decided to own her own business, and so she was doing a lot of things that a lot of us don't do. A lot of us go and work, but she actually opened up her own business, doing really well. Now I probably put too much water. I'm glad we're doing this live so you guys can see. I probably put too much water, but that's not a problem. I actually now prefer it to be a little bit more stickier than if you don't add enough. Because if you don't add enough, then you really got to push it in there, and I don't know, I kind of like it to be light and fluffy. So when cancer first hit our family, it was that family member who could afford to go eat out all the time. Nobody had heard about it. First people that were getting cancer were the people who were eating, that I saw. Let me just say, from me and my journey and from what I saw. The first people that were getting cancer were the people who had the money to eat out. Everybody else was healthy and didn't have no problem. So as time goes on, as the years go by, because like I said, I'm 51, okay? So as years go by, I see, you know, cancer popping up more and more. I'm still not making the connection between the food completely because I haven't heard it. Because in my programming, nobody has talked about that. And I just kept going back to that family member. Now, before people get all upset and start, you know, making some noise, this is all about being educated. And there is nothing we can do if we've been programmed to trust a system that has never loved us. So when we share experiences, we are actually just trying to connect the dots so that we can improve. And it's not about degrading somebody for their past choices, because I've made plenty of fucked up past choices. Plenty. And a lot of it has to do with education. So, but then again, you can get the knowledge, but you also got to, move it into motion. So anyways, my family came out triumphant in her fight against cancer, or conquering cancer, I'd rather say. And still doing good today, so that's great. So anyways, again, back to the flour. If you're going to start cooking at home and you want to think about your ingredients and what ingredients you're using, this would be a good beginning point. The next step up I'm going to try is commute, and I might be saying it wrong, or kumut, I don't know, flour. It's a Dr. Sebi or Sebi, Dr. Sebi approved flour. So I'm going to move my way up to that. But right now, I'm just using this flour. Okay, so you just kind of work it in. I'd like it to still be softer than this, but I guess this is what we're getting right now. All right, so we talked about, the coconut oil is really good. You know, anybody with the coming down with Alzheimer's disease, and I saw that in our family as well, and it's really, really heartbreaking for everybody. It's heartbreaking. So coconut oil is an oil that if you start using that, it actually helps with the brain. And of course, getting rid of any type of cooking with aluminum. So if you're gonna bake potatoes, you're cooking for somebody who's been diagnosed with Alzheimer's, what you could do is start baking in glass dishes instead of using aluminum, especially if you're making like baked potatoes and those type of things, because you don't want that aluminum to go into the food. All right, so not a bad idea to do that. And again, using products like this will also help. So we've got some coconut oil in here. We've got our minerals with our pink Himalayan salt. We've got a good tasting baking powder that's not gonna have an aluminum, taste. And we have our herb oil. And I actually picked this book up at Smart and Final, and it talks a lot about the benefits of medical marijuana. So there you go, there, right? It's just so funny to me, and I really do hope. No, I don't hope. I see the time when a lot of people who are doing time or have a record of all that's going to be is going to be removed and dealt with the correct way. And the way that happens is by the products that we the people demand, because it's all capitalism, right? Supply and demand. Whatever we demand, they supply. So if we're demanding cheap food, they're going to give us cheap food, and if that works out for them because now they can get in, them and the pharmaceutical companies can get together, then that works out good for them. So yeah, you want to think about those things. Demanding these type of products lets them know that you're not interested in what they have to offer, even if it's cheap. Okay, so I'm just rolling these up in balls, and you would actually let these sit, and we're gonna do that, but I'm gonna go to some other ones. We're gonna put this away. Let's see, where can I put this? Alright, so we're going to roll some. Now, I like how this dough came out that I did earlier better than that dough, but I'll make that dough work, and I'll show you after it sits for a little bit. But we're going to go ahead and do these tortillas here. I think I'm just going to, yeah, I'll do 3. Important to let your dough rest and kind of leave it alone. I had someone come over and I was letting my dough rest, and they wanted to experiment with the dough, and so they went to like punching it and pushing it and everything, and by the time I got ready to actually use it, it was, poor dough was all beat up. So, don't take your frustrations out on the dough, because when you go to cook it, it ain't gonna be cooked right. All right, so yeah, let your dough sit. Okay, so this one is a little sticky, so I'm gonna go ahead and add some flour to the board. This is perfect, and I'll do some with that one too, so you can see what happens, just in case you turn out with something great like this, or you know, next time you do it and it's like that. So taste wise, it's not that big of a deal because it's all the same ingredients. All it is that that one could have used more water. Okay, so I remember when I first doing tortillas, getting back to doing tortillas, I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't done this in forever. And that actually happened in Belize when I was out there in the jungle for 3 months. No electricity, no refrigerator, no cell signal. Well, not good cell signal, I should say. I did have a couple of times, but 20-minute hike just to get to the cabin or whatever it was. Yeah, it was wild. Okay, so I actually made a perfect circle. Yay! My granddaughter likes to do this. All right, so you've got your tortilla, and you see it's really light and nice. And I've got we call this a gomad. So, but it's just an iron flat. So if you see one of these at the cherry auction or something, you can get that. Or you can, put it in one of your pans, whatever works for you. So I'm going to put this on. And sometimes it'll stick, and I'm not trying to burn my fingers, so I will use this to kind of get it, reposition it to where I want it to be. Okay. I don't know, you can't see it, so you can't see it, but I showed some pictures of what it looks like as it's starting to bubble up. So you'll let it bubble up, and then you just take. Some of you probably like, she ain't using her fingers. Okay, I'm gonna use my fingers now. So let the tortilla do its thing. My mom was a real G, boy. She won't be cooking, and she on to the next one. And then she stopped making them. So I guess that was a clue that we needed to make ours, our own. So, quick shout out to my daughter-in-law, Shawnee Johnson, soon to be Vaughn, for her sage sticks. They're really nice, really pretty. I don't know anybody in Fresno yet. I'm sure there might be somebody's upcoming, but who actually took the time to put the petals on there. You don't need it, but it is really pretty, and I think that kind of sets the tone for your environment. So shout out to Shawnee and her mom Sharon for their herbal recharge. They have a lot of great products. No, they don't pay me to do this, to talk about them. They probably don't even know. Okay. So I did make some refried beans, and I also made a soy chorizo. I know soy is not that great, so don't have soy all the time. Matter of fact, some people would say don't eat it at all, and I agree with them, but I don't know how to make chorizo without soy yet, so that's going to be my next thing. So until then, I do use soy chorizo from Trader Joe's. And again, it's not all the time. All right, so then you have your tortilla. It's hot. It's hot. Let's see. Oh, so yeah, back to that. So I've got habanero, squash, sweet potato. Cook that up in there. So this came out of my garden. I just think it's so crazy how, you know, the food, how John creates it. It's just wild. All right, so we got this zucchini that came out the garden. That's what's in there. Let's see what else. I put sweet potato. I do have some sweet potatoes, so if anybody's interested in picking up some sweet potatoes, I've got some sweet potatoes. All right. And habanero. Got habanero. It's like, I don't know what this is. Yeah, we got habanero. This is from the garden in the backyard. So we got some habanero. Just one, and I took the seeds out, so it's not too hot. And let's see, what else did I put in there? Mushroom. No, I didn't do mushroom. That's it. So, okay. I'm showing you that because I'm going to put it in this burrito, and then I'm going to pop it in the oven. So, and another one. Again, you know, like I'm over here really messing up, but I'm just gonna keep it moving. So what I'm doing is I'm repositioning it, because when I put it on there, some of the dough was hanging over the command, and I don't want that. So I'm repositioning it so that it's getting heat all the way around, and it's bubbling up. Once it's on there, once it kind of cooks a little bit, you can move it. Yeah. I wonder, has anybody tried the molasses yet? I wonder if anyone's tried the molasses from the last one. What am I cooking? Hey Larry, I am cooking homemade tortillas. Homemade tortillas using some of the top benefits. Oh, I'm drinking some spring water with ginger, lemon, and that's it. Yeah. Room temperature. Sometimes it's nice to have it really cold, but if you're drinking throughout the day, room temperature is probably better for your body to absorb it. My granddaughter loves to have the coconut oil on her tortillas, because if you're trying to get off dairy like butter, coconut oil is excellent for that. You can replace the butter with the coconut oil, and it'll give it that flavor. No, it's not going to taste exactly like butter, but it will still you'll feel that connection to that flavor, if that makes sense. So the ingredients that I shared with you, the 1½ cups of flour, half a teaspoon of baking powder, half a teaspoon of pink Himalayan salt, 1/4 of coconut oil. You can do regular coconut oil, or you can do herb infused, and that's what I'm doing today, the herb infused. A sativa blend, organic, so I like to call it butt naked. Butt naked. Shout out to one of my girls who told me about Naked and Afraid. Did anybody see that? I saw that Naked and Afraid on YouTube. I don't know if anyone saw, but saw it while it was in broadcast. That's what they were actually doing to the people, dropping them off somewhere. They were butt naked. So our sativa is going to give us energy, helps with metabolism. The coconut oil is going to help prevent Alzheimer's disease. and it will actually help those people who are looking to improve their health through what they eat. So important, so important. All right, so we're gonna go on our last one for the live, the third tortilla. I'm still a little off on the bottom, so I'm gonna move it over just a bit. Yay! All right, so DB3 Photography, our senior portrait membership special, starts at $75 a month, and that's going to give you 2 senior portrait sessions, one in the fall, one in the spring, so one in 2019, one in 2020, because sometimes people like to switch up their hair. Maybe they don't know what kind of hairstyle they want. So do the winter one with one hairstyle, do the spring one with a different hairstyle. That could be cool. Let's see, $75 a month, and it starts October all the way through May 2020. So that would cover, again, that senior portrait session. It would cover the formal and the Sadies. I think there's 3 of those, right? So basically a portrait to come in, take a picture of you all dressed up and ready to go professionally. And I'm only offering this to 5 seniors this year. That's it. From DB3. If I get more than 5 interested, I may know someone else who might be able to accompany, who might be willing to honor the membership. I don't know. All we can do is ask them, right? So, only 5 people, and since if you're an athlete and you have your senior nights, that would be included. I'll come in and cover your senior night. That's when all the family shows up, right? Everybody has a great time. Shout out to Kimberly Sears, who purchased her membership last year, and that was so much fun. I enjoy going to Jada's basketball senior night and being all part of that. We had fun doing our photo shoots. Jada Ebern was so kind to actually gift one of her formals to somebody else because she wasn't going to make it. So instead of her losing out on that part of the membership, she gifted it to her cousin. And so that was beautiful, and we had a good time with her cousin. So again, DB3, that's what we do. That's what we have offered. And DB3 and eating, it's all connected, right? For creativity and so forth. All right, so let's go ahead and make our burritos. Let's make our burritos. So I just start off with the beans, and these are small, so you don't want to put too much in there because the tortilla is small. Kind of done that in the past. It's too small for it. And then I'm just gonna get my soy chorizo. So this, I guess, this might be, the replacement for the meat. I didn't put no jackfruit in there, but I'm sure, that could be, turn everything off, that could be an option. And then the other thing I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna get a plate. So right now I just have the beans and the chorizo. That's, like I said, a meat option. So instead of cooking up some meat, you would cook up your vegetables and sweet potato and soy chorizo. And then for toppings, we could do, for those people that are working to get off of cheese, because I hear it all the time, people say, just cheese is so hard, and there's so much I have to talk about cheese, but we're not talking about cheese today. We're talking about tortillas and making meals. So this is Daya, or Daya cheese. It looks just like cheese. I shredded it with the grater, with a small grater, and you can just sprinkle that on top. Okay. Now, it does come shredded already, but you can do the research on what they put on the cheese in order to keep it shredded, because You see how it clumps together? Like it's clumping together. That's because that's just normally how, you know, cheese would behave. So when you buy the cheese already shredded, they have to add something to the cheese to keep it from sticking to each other. So I would encourage you to just use your arm and shred it out yourself to avoid those chemicals if that's something you're wanting to avoid, okay? All right, and I like avocado. Avocado is good for us, right? So I have some avocado and some green onions. Someone told me that you can, you know, put lemon juice on and it'll keep your avocados green. And also, if you put your avocados with onion, cut open an onion and put them together, and it'll keep the avocado green. So prevent it from discoloring. So you just add your avocado, however you like it. Okay. Some people don't like cilantro, but cilantro is really good to get rid of toxins in the body, like aluminum. So again, if we're getting older and we're wanting to maintain our brain health so that we don't find ourselves in a situation of possible Alzheimer's disease, or we might know somebody who has Alzheimer's disease, I would encourage you to start adding some cilantro to their meals. And if you're somebody who can't always go and get water, and maybe tap water is the only thing that you have at the moment, because that happens. I mean, imagine we're over here buying our water, okay? If you have cilantro, you can let the cilantro sit in the water, and it'll absorb all the toxins from the water or the heavy metals. The cilantro will absorb it, and then you take it out and you can drink it, maybe boil it, whatever you want to do, okay? But the cilantro will help with that. And shout out to Titus Unlimited, because I learned that from watching his life. Okay, and then I like to top it with bird pepper. I remember seeing these every now and then at the market on Kern, and then, but I didn't know what they were. You know, they just say called bird pepper. And when I went to Belize, it's so wonderful how everything is in order, in divine order. Because I was already going to the farmers markets getting my food, and so anyways, I saw these bird pepper. I don't know if you can see it. They're little peppers. That's why they call them bird pepper. And they have really good flavor. So anyways, where I ended up in Belize had like 2 or 3 bushes of the bird pepper. So at any time I wanted some type of flavor in the food, I would just go outside and pick them. And then going to the cherry auction, guess what they had there? They had a bird pepper plant. And actually, Brazil is the purple one. It's Brazil. So everything in divine order, right? It's just amazing. All right, so this is what we're working with right here, our tortilla. Now, you could, you know, just fold it up and eat it like this, because it doesn't have to be a burrito. You could do that. And it's a little doughy, and I have people who say, well, I don't really care for my tortilla to be that doughy. So what I've done for that, you can pop it in the oven for a little bit. You go, pop it in the oven. And then, you know, to kind of harden up the tortilla a little bit so it's not so doughy. So if you have people who you cook for them, you make burritos and then they take forever to get to the table, then you can just put it in the oven and let it sit in there so that when they're ready to eat, you have it, you know, you have it ready for them. So that's our little burrito pockets. Thank you again, everyone, for tuning in. I know I was a little behind trying to get everything together, but thank you all for tuning in. I guess I don't have a taste tester, not today, huh? My daughter came too soon. So I'm gonna take a bite. This is so good. So good. Yes. very flavorful. And then knowing that it's good for you and that your hands made it. You don't know whose other hands or what they were doing with that food that we sometimes drive through, the energies that are around it. When you make your own food, it's your energy, your kitchen, right? So yeah, this is delicious. So good. So good. Oh my God. That was so yummy. I'm gonna finish it for later. Okay, so back to the dough. I don't want to forget. This front one, it likes to fight with me, so. Important to warm up your commode. You know, as you're making the tortillas, warm up the commode so that it could be hot and not, you know, trying to get hot. It's been hot, so it'll warm up quicker. But when you're cooking at home, you're getting it ready. You want to make sure that that's ready to go. You don't want it to be cold and then trying to warm it up. It'll feel like forever. So just turn it on while you start cooking up your tortillas. So back to that dough that I said, I probably could have added more water, but we let it sit, and now it's not as tough. It's actually a little bit, you know, easier to work with. So I'm not gonna, well, I'll roll up one and then I'm gonna put it back because this dough, which is herb infused, anyone is interested, they can hit the Cash App, DB3 photo. You have to be in Fresno. And you do have to roll out your tortillas within 24 hours of receiving the dough, okay? And you have to receive the dough today. So if you are planning on making your own food and you want to prep, you can actually do the tortilla dough the night before, and then the day of you can roll them out fresh for everyone. So $5, that's 50 cents a tortilla, and that's just for today. Because you should be able to get 10 tortillas out of that dough. So I'm not selling you cooked food, I'm selling the dough. And actually I'm just looking for some reciprocity. Bless you with all this goodness, and you can bless me. Blessings for blessings, right? And that's just for anybody who's interested in wanting to make their own tortillas, but maybe they're a little intimidated by the dough. Well, that's what you can do. And also, if you were wanting to do Johnny cakes, it's the exact same ingredients for the Johnny cake. The difference with the Johnny cake is we're not rolling it out. Okay, we're making more of a muffin, but same ingredients. And whenever you're purchasing Johnny cakes from Fire and Spice with Sheena Vaughn, know that the ingredients are the best in those Johnny cakes. All right, so if anyone was interested in making their own Johnny cake or their own tortillas, you can purchase the dough by itself from me. That's only 50 cents a tortilla. I think that's pretty good, especially because it has herbs. So yeah, that's just for today. In the future, if you want herb infused food, it'll be priced a little bit higher because now we're talking about adding medicine, right? So as you can see, this one, we're having to push it just a little bit harder. Well, I don't know if you can see that, but I can feel it. To get it to roll out, and then we're gonna show the other one. Show this one. You can tell just by pressing on it how that's going to react, right? So this one, not so much. I have to press down so hard, but it is a little bit more, you know, flimsy. Okay, so that would be that one. So it's not impossible to do. It's just on that one I'd have to throw a lot of flour on it, and this one I wouldn't have to do that because it's not going to stick to everything. It's not going to stick to the rolling pin. It's not sticking to the board. So that's the difference between that texture and this texture, but there's no difference in flavor. Alright, so now we have our tortilla. Throw it on there. And I messed up again. One of these days I'm going to get really good. So you saw how it crinkled up right there? You don't want that, okay? Because then that part of it will be more doughy, and the rest of the tortilla will be cooked up right. So you want to eliminate those creases if they happen right away. Thank you again for joining, everyone. I really appreciate it. Big shout out to Ralph Smart. I listened to him, and he's always talking about getting busy and getting started at doing, you know, your own content, your own, you know, stuff that's informative. So I really appreciate you tuning in to take care of your health in the Rasta kitchen. No blood, no bones, and no chemicals. So as you can see, this tortilla is cooking up the same way. So again, it's not going to be, it's just a different in texture, okay? It's not a different in taste, or just a different in texture. This one might be a little bit heavier. Like I would probably have to, if I was to do this one again, I might make a smaller circle than what I did and roll it out so it gets thinner. But if you like thick tortillas, then you might like it just like that. All right, any taste testers? Any taste testers? All right. I think we're done. I'm just going to show you the two different, so you can see the different. That's actually pretty cool that we ended up having two textures for the dough. Any questions? Let's see. Hey, Tamisha. Hey, Charlie. Hey, Chris. Thank you guys for watching. Oh, in the beans, I added turmeric. I use lots of turmeric. You can do some research on that, but turmeric is really good for you. So this tortilla I had to cook a little bit longer because it was heavier. See? So this was the other dough, right? And this is this dough. So I don't know, you can't really tell maybe, but this is a little bit thicker and this one's a little bit thinner. This one, well, just cook those. So if you, it's kind of, I guess it would be like, you know, when you want pizza that's thin crust or pizza that's thicker, this would be the thicker one. All right. All right, I don't know if there's any more questions. Anybody interested in picking up a burrito? Just let me know. No, you have to be 18 years or older. If anybody wants to be a taste tester and come by, then the burrito will be on me. All right, so thank you guys for tuning in. Have a blessed and beautiful Sunday, and cheers to you.